It was just a normal early morning at the local high school. Michelle was standing by her locker to get ready for her first class in math when she suddenly heard a voice behind her. Hey, Michelle! She turned around and saw it was her best friend, Gabriella. Gabriella, hi! You're a little bit late. Sorry about that. My mom has ended up in a traffic stop before school, she said. Gabriella and Michelle actually have been best friends since early middle school. They trust each other for almost anything actually. They spend a lot of time. Then they really are the most closest friends ever. Hey girls! Both turned around and saw Peter. Peter was a guy that they were close friends with. Hey Peter, you a little bit late as well? Yeah, sorry, my traffic stops. Am I right? Mm-hmm, said Gabriella, which nodded and said, same thing here. Wait, let me guess. Your mom ended up in that same traffic stop? Very much. Isn't that a pain? Said Peter and laughed. Yeah, you tell me about it, said Gabriella. So, where's your first class for day, Michelle? Matt, you? Science? What about you, Peter? Turns out I have math as well. Well, we should get ready for first before the bells start ringing. And you know that if you get late, you will get a warning. And yeah, don't tell me about it since I was already that one time and I don't want to have it repeat, said Peter. So they all went to their different class, but they made sure to meet up at the cafeteria for lunch. During math, though, Peter and Gabriella or Michelle was just talking just normal. But there wasn't until like when they came for lunch, when Michelle and Peter saw that Gabriella was already waiting for them. Ah, you're already here? Yeah, get me a little bit earlier, said Gabriella. As they were just sitting there and just talking, they just suddenly heard someone just broke out crying. Oh, so little baby crying. Oh yeah, a little baby crying, said two girls behind this person. said, I can't believe that they just keep doing that, said Michelle Elvis quietly. Turn out, two other girls around the same age named Tammy and Molly. Molly was Tammy's best friend, but not about that. Tammy and Molly was known for as school's bullies. They target anyone. They regardless if they're a popular or anything. Well, they only make exceptions for those who are popular. Because they, well, especially Tammy, had made this unofficial rule that she declares who is popular or who is nerds and all that. She had never actually bothered either Peter, Gabriella, or Michelle because they stayed away from her as much as possible, even though they had some classes with her, but otherwise, it's hard to even to realize it. Another thing is that this particular school actually had a non-bullying policy, meaning if a student being caught bullying one student just once, you get a warning. In fact, the principal actually made this type of system that if any student bullying any student 3 times, you get a warnings. But after first strike, you get suspended for about a week. But if the same thing happened 3 more times, you get expelled. But you couldn't have been expelled if you did some complete worse when it comes to bullying. Both Michelle and Gabriella and Peter, all of them actually hated Tammy and Michelle and Molly's constant bullying. As they saw this young girl just stood up and ran away crying. And don't try dare to tell anyone because we know more of your secrets. I can't understand why anyone even want to try to stand up against them, said Gabriella. You know, I don't know if anyone even would dare, said Peter quietly. one of these days, said Michelle, one of these days they will get exactly what they will deserve. Yeah, but how? How or what? You know, I heard that some of the students who have been bullied by her are so scared that they even want to even tell anyone, not like a teacher or basically anyone. Yeah, and did you hear? Hear what? About those two students that dropped out of school last year? Oh yeah, I heard about that. Rumors saying that they actually dropped out because they just didn't want to, you know, they wanted to do something else rather be in high school. Yeah, I heard about that, said Peter. But I heard something else, said Michelle. Oh? Yeah, I actually ran into one of those guys sometimes after this, and I even asked them that he told me the main reason why he and his friends just dropped out is because they were so constant bullying by Tammy and Molly. They couldn't even handle it anymore. I asked them, not even though they are no longer as students, but they could just have been telling another someone. But they didn't want to do that anymore. They wanted to drag themselves back into this constant movement and all that things. I mean, according to one of those, since we are no longer students, this is no our fuss to do this anymore. And since then, Tammy and Molly hasn't even bothered those two guys anymore. And I only meant that was a question is like, who else was gonna be being able to do this? I mean, having those two study constant bullying, nagging, bad names, all that. And I am surprised that none of the teachers or none of the staff had even noticed anything. Yeah, but the most positive is that positive, said Peter, almost like an sarcastic. Well, the only positive thing is, said Gabriella, they had even bonded, they had even actually made any physical contact. You know, yeah. If you see from that point of view, said Michelle, you're right. They only been verbally abusing or bullying, but never actually attacking or even physical. If there was that, they're probably too smart to realize if someone actually notices any mark on those, they will actually been asked where did those marks come from, the bruises and all that. Yeah, I think probably you had learned that from somewhere. I just don't know what to do, what to be saying for that. Yeah, but maybe one day they will be get what it deserves, said Gabriella. And the rest of the day things went normal. But Michelle left the school earlier since she had a doctor's appointment in the afternoon with her mom. So the next day when she came back to school, she found Gabriella silent by her locker. Hey, Gabriella? Oh, hi. What's the matter? It's nothing. Come on, you can tell me. It's fine, said Gabriella and just walked off. Okay, what's that about? She thought for herself. Later that same afternoon, Michelle actually ran into Peter by his car at the parking lot. Hey, Peter, can I ask you something? Yeah, sure. Have you talked to Gabriella anything today? No, not much. Why? I can't see exactly why, but I mean, she seems odd. Odd? Yeah, I mean, this morning I found her by her locker, said hi, and she says like, hi, just almost like sad. She wasn't even her smiling or anything when I asked her what something was wrong, and something was not. So you hadn't even heard? Heard what? Then Peter explained. Turned out that someone has been spreading rumors about Gabriella, that she was a lesbian, and that she was, and she was in fact was in love with a girl at the school, but the rumors didn't say exactly which girl. Oh, come on, are you serious? Mm-hmm. I am definitely serious about this one. Is that the reason why Gabriella doesn't want to talk to me? Wait. So, even this is just on rumors. But you know that Gabriella isn't lesbian, right? Yeah, I know. I mean, I know that she's bisexual like yourself. That's one thing. Both Michelle and Gabriella were both bisexual. And Peter was the only one in the whole school who even knew about it. Yeah, but who can I be doing? Don't tell me. Yep, pretty much. Tammy or Molly or both. This is going too far. You can't just confront them. You can't just start demanding them to be explained. You know that they will probably deny it has nothing involved with this, said Peter. Yeah, probably like that. You know, I'll probably talk to Gabriella later. Yeah, but don't expect to get any much answer from her, though. I mean, yeah, you're probably right. After that, Michelle went home, and her older brother Derek was home for the weekend. Hey, sis, what you up to? You know, school. Whoa, 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 whoa. Okay, what's wrong? What? You know, I might be your older brother, but I know and I can sense something is wrong. Tell me, what's the matter? This is nothing, please. You can tell me anything. Alright. So they went to the kitchen and she spilled the beans. Not again. This was not the first time that Derek was tired of Molly or Tammy's bullying. You should tell them. I mean, yeah, I should, but what if I did? Even if I did that, Peter's right. They would just deny, and they probably demand I have some proof that was actually one of them or both of them. And I don't even have any evidence. And even if I did ask Gabriella, she would still probably tell me the truth, but if I ask her to prove to the others, she wouldn't deny anything like it. Yeah, you should probably somehow figure out a way to somehow, you know. I mean, what if like someone actually did made a recording of both Tammy and Molly? Yeah, but who? I may think I have an idea. Who? Their latest target. A Gabriella? Yep. Are you saying that you want to use her as a bait? Are you crazy, Derek? You don't think that I don't think she would even want to do that. Well, what other options do we have? I mean, it's unlikely we won't even to find. Okay, if you manage to figure out any other recent targets, do you think they even want to stand up to defend themselves as a target or as a bait? And she realized Derek actually had a good point. That even though that there were a few other students that Tammy and Molly had been bullying, there were not much anything that they could done. Even she would even weren't even convince neither of those students to stand up. Yeah, but I mean, if I can't convince Gabriella, then what? Just waiting for me to be her target, their target next? Well, how about this? Call her right now and we both can talk to her. Yeah, I can try, but I cannot promise though. So, Michelle did call up Gabriella and she did answer right away. Hey, Gabriella, I had to talk to you for something. Yeah, what is it? You can't deny this right now. Okay, she said. Tammy and Molly is the one who's been bullying you, isn't it? There was a silence for a moment. I'm your best friend, Gabriella. And I thought you were going to be telling me anything. You know that. And then she started crying and said, yes, they have been bullying her for the since only over just one day. But then suddenly, Gabriella. What? Derek? Yeah, don't worry, she told me all about it. And I have an idea how to make this stop. How? Derek then explained his plan. I don't know if I want to believe if I feel comfortable about it, said Gabrielle afterwards. See, told you, Derek. I don't think she even wanted to do it, but I will. Wait, what? Are you serious? Yes, but there, there, there is one thing that you need to know. What? The girl that they have been telling me that I was a crush on or dating was you. What? Me? But Peter didn't tell me exactly no, because I told him not to. So you really talk to Peter about this? Yeah. I understand if you're no. I'm not mad at Gabriella. I just I mean, I can understand that Peter just wanted to be protecting me from getting complete mad, which I already am, but we need to do this. So for next several days, both Gabriella and Michelle were planning to do this plan. It couldn't just not be just one single time. They had been recording this because the plan is that Gabriella was to have her phone in her pocket every time when Tammy and Molly was nearby, so that they could be recorded. Because only if they had just one time recording, wouldn't have been enough evidence for the principal to do anything. But if they had multiple recordings of this, then it could be having much evidence they needed. So for next several days, Tammy and Molly were in fact bullying Gabriella. But the first time it actually happened, when Gabriella had her phone, she went into this girl's restroom, just doing her business, when suddenly Molly and Tammy walked in. It's like, hey, you need to pay up. Pay up? Yeah. You need to pay us $10 each. Unless you want us to tell the school who is actually the one that you have a crush on. And Tammy was still pretty much angry. She blocked the door so she couldn't even get out. Pay us or double it. Double? Yeah, Molly, Tammy, that's not a bad idea. Yeah, pay us $20 each instead of 10. Okay, here. This repeated things happened, not only in the restroom, but also in the hallways or even outside in a parking lot. After nearly a week of doing this, Gabriella and Michelle had put all the recordings on a CD for the principal to look at. This is probably enough, though. Do you think so? Yeah. They were actually over to Gabriella's house when this happened. But after they had been finished, Gabriella said something else. Michelle, there is one thing I actually want to tell you. What is it? You know that the rumors that Tammy and Molly said? Yeah? Well, for the past few days now, it's kind of actually been true. Wait, you're actually in love with me? Said Michelle, almost shocked. Yeah, I understand. Gabriella, if I had to be honest, same thing here. You're the most amazing girl that I have ever been to get to know. Despite if you were my best friend, I don't care if you were my girlfriend or my wife one day. Wife? She said, almost a chuckle. Well, who knows? Maybe. Let's see what happened first about this. Okay? So the next day, which were a Friday, they went straight to the principal in the morning. Girls? Said the secretary. Is the principal in? We need to talk to him. It's quite urgent. Um, well, yeah, I can shake. The principal did actually had time for both. So, girls, what can I do for you? So both Tammy and Molly had been bullying my best friend here. Um, Tammy and Molly. Yeah, so they describe how those girls looked like. And she's not the only one has been doing this, or have been targeted by them. You tell. Tell me more, said the principal, almost interested. Then Michelle told them what she at least know, that Tammy and Molly have been bullying students since they first started high school for over a year. And she was even responsible for two guys that dropped out of school earlier. She was not happy to hearing this, and the principal's face was looking from concerned to almost a bit angry. And we have proof. They hand over the CD, and he looked at the same old recording stuff as. So, when was this recording taking place? Around about a week. Last week, actually. And we finished it today, actually, so yesterday, so we want presented this all the evidence that we have. You know, Principal, despite how much that Gabriella is the only one who's willing to come forward, I don't believe that the other students that have been bullied by Tammy Molly, that I don't think they even want to come forward. Okay, but let me see what I can do. The principal promised to have this taken care of, which he would. Rest of the day, both Michelle and Gabriella was quite nervous. They didn't see any much things about from Tammy or Molly during the day, but around after school was over, when both of them was actually at by Michelle's car, suddenly Peter walked up. Hey girls, have you heard? Heard what? Tammy Molly has been suspended for a week. What? Are you serious? Yeah, the evidence that you girls that they collected turned out was enough for them to be suspended. I thought maybe that there would have been something else, but at least though, that's happy though. Well, at least one thing is positive for this, said Gabriella. And what would that be? Said Michelle. The other students won't be bullied by them for about a week. Yeah, just need to mention that. Yeah, this is a good positive thing. So both Michelle and Gabriella actually went home to celebrate this for just 1 week of suspension for those both girls. They would deserve it after all, they thought, since they have been bullying others of constantly bullying students. And in fact, the next week, the principal actually had a serious conversation with other students that actually came forward afterwards when they found out about this. And despite they had more reports about the constant bullying. And after about a week, both Tammy and Molly came back to school, and basically everyone stayed away from them. But when Tammy saw that Michelle was by her locker by herself, how dare you? What? She turned around. How dare you to get me and Molly suspended for a week? You really don't deserve to be doing that, do you? You are now a nerd, in my opinion. But Michelle just didn't bother. You know, that rule, that who is nerds and popular, doesn't even exist in school rules. That's only yours. Another thing is, you and Molly are school bullies. No, we're not. We are the ones who decide who is popular or not. Like I said, Tammy, that rule doesn't exist. Of course it does, she said, almost snapping her. You know, I don't even care, but what you and Molly end up having, you will deserve it. After all, I can show this. All the other students that you have been bullying have actually come forward and told the principal all kinds of things. Ha, you're lying. Oh yeah? Ask her. said Michelle and pointed to Gabriella. Yeah, that's true, said she with a big smile. They know everything. They even had, in fact, he had even had recordings of both of you been doing. And suddenly, a few other people actually walked up in the hallway. They were also some of the students that both Molly and Tammy had been bullying. Yeah, it is actually in fact true. We had told the principal all kinds of things. Oh yeah? As if the principal even believe you. Oh yeah? Just been waiting for you. You may have been suspended. That's your only final warning. You know, said Michelle. Next things you or Molly would do, it automatically make you both expelled. As if that is gonna happen. My dad is rich, you know that, and he will make sure the principal do anything. You do believe that your dad have the influence over the principal's decisions? Oh no, you are far from that. How dare I? I don't even care what you think, Tammy. I just want to be having a school experience that everyone don't have to be bullied. After all, the school has non-bullying policy. Everyone knows about it. So what? So what? You know what? One of the thing that you bullying Gabriella for the last week or so, almost 2 weeks ago. Michelle, Gabriella, come here for a second. Okay? Then suddenly, Michelle leaned forward and gave Gabriella a big kiss and said, You know, Tammy, this is my girlfriend, and I'm not even ashamed of it. I'm actually proud to be dating my own best friend. And for that, you don't even bother anyone else. And Tammy stood there shocked, and as Molly too, and as she came up to her, it's like, what is going on here, Tammy? But Tammy didn't say the word. But Gabriella and Michelle just told Molly the brief. And Molly was shocked. And they all walked off. But by the end of the day, Molly and Tammy had a plan. They cornered Gabriella and Michelle in a hallway. They tried to be safe, tried to ask for forgiveness, but in fact they weren't even planning on that. In fact, they had something else in mind. They started acting peaceful, friendly, very kind, but Gabriella and Michelle could somehow see through their scheme. And as Michelle was about to turn her rock around, Gabriella told her, wait! And then suddenly, they heard a smack. Turned out, Tammy has smacked Gabriella in the face, so she fell on the ground, and then suddenly, and she was holding out something that you will regret this, she said, and suddenly Michelle felt something, a pain in her stomach, and she looked down and saw blood. Tammy had lost her mind. She had grabbed something she couldn't even see at the moment, but turned out later on to be just a very sharp pencil or a piece of wood or something, which she stabbed Michelle. And then Molly actually laughed and said, "You really deserve that." And she took the same thing, not the same thing, and stabbed Michelle once again. Both now were happy stabbed, but then, "Girls, what the hell are you two doing?" said someone behind them. Both girls looked terrified as they slowly turned around, and who was standing there was in fact the gym teacher. The gym teacher was horrified when he saw the blood tools that they were holding, and suddenly Michelle blacked out. She fell on the ground, on the floor, blacked out. This teacher immediately called for the emergency on his phone and called out for the students to be arrested. Well, Tammy and Molly was so terrified they didn't even move a muscle. The police did arrive in time, with an ambulance afterwards. Tammy and Molly was arrested. Turned out that Gabriella was just only slapped in her face, but Michelle would have been stabbed twice in her abdomen. She was losing a lot of blood at the same time. Gabriella told Michelle to hold on. The medics are right in the will be there in a moment. But as Michelle was about to black out again, she said, "I love you, Gabriella." And then she passed out. Gabriella saw as Michelle was taken on a stretcher in an ambulance and left. As this happened, Gabriella just stood there, and as suddenly, as Peter ran out of the hallway after finding out what happened, she fell to the ground on her knees crying. She was bawling her eyes out. She had just probably lost her only girlfriend that she ever had in her life. But Peter comforted her, saying that Michelle is a strong girl. She's as strong as an ox. She's strong as a dragon, she said. They said. When Michelle's parents and when her older brother found out, even though that Derek was back in college in the state over, he was horrified. But at least happy that those girls who did it was now under arrest. Luckily for one thing, both Tammy and Molly had actually missed any major organs or any major blood vessels. Well, even though that Michelle did lost some blood, but she was, well, safe. She was allowed to be in a stay at the hospital for over the night just for precautions. But she was safe. And Gabriella was just happy to realize that Michelle was just safe. She couldn't even believe otherwise. When she went to the hospital to see her girlfriend Michelle laying in the bed, seeing her with her blue eyes and the dark brown hair, she just felt happy. But later, Michelle and Gabriella later found out that Tammy and Molly was originally supposed to be sentenced or for court as juveniles. But since they were both 17, and Michelle's parents demanded that they've been tried as adults. After all, they were completely aware of what they were doing, and they didn't even care because in an interrogation, both gave the statement that they didn't even care if Michelle even died or not. Because according to their minds, the world will be not less of, will be one less complete, idiotic, pathetic girl like her. So, Michelle's parents actually got what they wished for. Tammy and Molly were sentenced as adults. They were later found guilty, and they were actually given 25 years in jail, with only possibility of parole after almost 20 years. But according to Michelle and Gabriella, they didn't even care of any of that. At least Michelle made a full recovery. And the rest of his high school years and experience went completely normal. In fact, when both families found out that Michelle and Gabriella were dating, they were just happy. And even her older brother, Michelle's older brother Derek, when he found out, he was like, about time you actually realize it now. Michelle was like, so you really realize it? Or you knew about it? Call it a hunch. Yeah, right. But both Michelle and Gabriella was just happy that she made it. And even though nobody finished high school, Michelle wanted to be a veterinarian. Gabriella, she wanted to be a preschool teacher or something. But in the end, she just ended up working at a grocery store because she didn't want to spend another more years of being teaching or studying or like that. But since both of them went to two different high school college, but their relationship only got stronger. But after they both have finished college, they moved back home And they even got us their own apartment and just happy. Michelle started working as a veterinarian in town and just both actually had a great time. And Michelle, well, let's say when they have been dating for about have been living together when they were both on their 25, they actually tied the knot. They decided to have a small close ceremony. Just they felt happy. And if despite of all after all this, after a number of years, about almost two after being married for about 2 years, Tammy or Michelle and Gabriella, they wanted to start a family. So they were trying to look around for any potential ideas for what to do. Adoptions was one of the things, but the process could take a little bit some time for them to be even being approved. But then, Peter, who is still their best friend to this day, actually offered to be a donor for both of them. So they actually accepted this. Michelle decided to be born to be pregnant first of all, and she later gave birth to a baby girl which they named Lisa. Another 3 years later, Gabriella actually had twins. She actually had twin daughter and a boy, and the boy was named Marcus, and the girl was named Julia. Both Michelle and Gabriella couldn't have been happier to have 3 children in their lives now, especially being married with the one they love the most. One that it happens from time to time, but they start when they sit down and talk about their high school years and college years, but only one event that more stands out the most. The time when Tammy and Molly were bullying both of them, or at least particularly Gabriella. But how things could have did turn out differently if Michelle didn't have made it. And Tammy and Molly, last time they heard, they were still in jail, and in fact their sentence had changed from life without parole, because it turned out they had attacked a number of other inmates in jail. So they were at least happy that they were not going to be released on the streets ever again. So this is how Molly, Michelle, and Gabriella found a true love and got a big family together. The end.